Hello, and welcome to another update video about Solana. Solana continues to move in this sideways consolidation phase below $190, which is the upside breakout point, but above 119, which is the downside breakout point. It is getting really boring on this chart now because we're just moving sideways, and we have done for a while. This is all, let's say, in line, very consistent with this idea of a wave 4 triangle pattern that's unfolding. And yeah, bear in mind, triangles, especially wave 4s, can really be quite boring. And this is precisely what we see. What would be a triangle like? I mean, again, we talked about an A, B, C, D, E structure. Obviously, there are some fluctuations today because of CPI. It so far hasn't really done much. Okay, we had just like that, up, down, but really nothing major. Just a little bit of volatility, but we haven't really seen any groundbreaking break of support or break of resistance. So the structure hasn't changed, especially not on this time frame anyway. Now, if we break below $119, we might see a lower wave 4. This is possible technically. Yeah. So the overall thesis is we're dealing with a wave 4, but the idea of a wave 4 obviously involves different patterns. So it could be a triangle. That's at the moment what I'm tracking primarily, okay? This is the yellow count. Below $119, we know it can't be a triangle anymore. It might be something different, but then we don't need to talk about that in detail until we actually break below 119. Could be that in the orange count, we simply form a larger WXY pattern and we'll test the area between 108 and $86. But again, for now, the triangle is the way to go for me. Even though I'm not, very convinced about it, because triangles are extremely fragile structures. I can tell you I don't like what I see here. This is not clearly bullish. But all of that, it doesn't need to be clearly bullish, because the idea is we're in a triangle and the subwaves are 3-wave movements. So the main wave count I'm tracking, and don't think this is a clear one, it's not. But best I can do is to give you an idea of the micro patterns here. And we had a C wave low, which is the C wave in this triangle. We had that C wave low that formed on the 5th of July. We have 5 waves up in wave A of D. Corrective pullback in wave B of D. And we might be working on wave C of D. And that is a 5-wave move. 1, 2, we could be working on a third, and then 4, 5. But this is a diagonal pattern, so there's a strong chance of falling out, which I made you aware of in the last videos already, and we seem to be starting to break it. I mean, there's no point really drawing these trend lines. Diagonals often follow trend lines, but this seems unproductive because we broke out, moved up, break again. So the trend lines aren't really being respected. But yeah, the idea is still we could be in a diagonal. So what are the key levels here? So the key levels really for this idea that we might be in a C wave to the upside within the larger D wave, which again is just a corrective pattern, so it's not stable, okay? It's the key level, the first key level is that last swing low at 138.80. So as long as we're holding that, we might want to focus on higher in the short term, but there's no clear setup for it. The setup was here after a 5-wave move up, 3-wave move down. Been highlighting in the last few days already that this isn't clearly impulsive, so definitely let's say doubting that it's gonna follow through. It would be ideal, but what I cannot rule out at this stage is another test of support. When we have a reaction to a support region like that, we want to see, let's say ideally, a follow through. And when we then assess the structure, as we go, and we see something like that, which is a lot of overlap and not really the ability, it can't really break out, right? It has tried now a couple of times. And when the price can't do that, it's a warning we might test support again, which is why I leave that orange support region on the chart for maybe another retest. And if that happens, then we can relabel. I would probably then explore if we're still in the wave B. That would be the most bullish option, because then it's possible to say, okay, we had really a 5-wave move in wave A. Then this was a pullback, part of that B wave pullback, but only like the A wave of that B, then an overshooting B wave and a C wave, and then we can go from there. So that's the idea currently here about that sort of microstructure on the Solana chart. Nothing very clear, I have to say. Okay, people getting bored about Solana. I noticed that. Views are reducing. Don't blame anyone. It is boring, but it will probably pick up soon again. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.